Right now, Jennifer Lopez is desperately hoping people forget about her relationship with Diddy. As things seem to be heating up for Diddy, all of his silent accomplices are hoping they don't get dragged into the fire. All of his once loyal friends have decided to play the quiet game all of a sudden. One of those who remained dead silent since Diddy's takedown is no other than Jennifer Lopez. J-Lo, knowing she had a 2-year relationship with Diddy, is hoping that she can escape this without any consequences by avoiding it entirely. J-Lo desperately wants the world to forget about that part in her life. But why? It wasn't like she did anything illegal. It was all Diddy, right? Well, not exactly. See, it's quite possible that she was one of Diddy's accomplices for one of his worst crimes ever. It's quite possible that J-Lo helped Diddy cover up one of his most horrible crimes and has been keeping it all a secret all these years. I'll explain exactly what I mean by this. See, J-Lo and Diddy started dating each other all the way back in 1999, right when she started her music career. While J-Lo was already successfully acting since the 1980s, it wasn't until 1999 that she started her music career. Diddy at the time was already a very powerful music executive who definitely could have helped her with her career. I believe Diddy and J-Lo's relationship was directly tied to J-Lo's music career, as Diddy was the right guy to help her with it. Diddy and J-Lo's relationship was going great, but that was until something horrible happened. Something that could have ended Diddy's career and even J-Lo's. This was the infamous Diddy and Shine Club shooting incident. On December 27th, 1999, Diddy and J-Lo, accompanied by their security and bad boy artist Shine, were at a club in Midtown, New York City. Diddy and J-Lo were at the club celebrating Shine's upcoming album release. Everything was going great until the moment Diddy was ready to leave. See, while Diddy was making his way out of the club, he accidentally bumped into a man and knocked his drink out of his hand. The man who Diddy bumped into just so happened to be a local drug dealer named Matthew Allen, or Scar as they called them in the streets. Scar then shoved Diddy in response, and an argument started, with Diddy asking Scar if he knew who he was. This is when Scar responded by throwing money in Diddy's face and telling him he ain't the only one with money. This led to Diddy and Shine pulling out weapons and unloading in the direction of Scar, but missing. Instead, 3 random club goers were struck. After all the commotion, Diddy and J-Lo and his security guard escaped the club, jumping into a vehicle driving away. As they were trying to drive off, they ate several red lights and the police began to chase the vehicle. This led to Diddy and J-Lo leading the police on a high-speed chase through New York City. Moments before the police started to chase them, a witness claimed they saw someone sitting on the rear passenger side of the car, tossing a loaded weapon out of the window that landed on his vehicle. These 2 officers spoke about this incident on a podcast where they admitted a witness stated that a light-skinned, slim-armed person tossed the weapon out the passenger window.
There was a third gun?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, what was the story behind the third gun that was recovered?
that was recovered. We recovered that a couple of days later. What happened was there was a gentleman out there. He was driving. He was an escort service. He was parked on 8th Avenue. And while he was sitting in his car, while he's sitting there, a gun comes flying out of the rear passenger side of the Navigator and literally lands on the hood of his car. And he confiscates it, and he really doesn't know what to do with it. And he eventually tells his boss, who he works for, hey, he sees what's going on. I believe he saw everything like the next day or that night on TV.
Yeah, he sees the news, puts 2 and 2 together.
So he gets in touch with his boss.
Does his civic duty.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Right.
It's a day later.
roundabout
In a roundabout way.
And what was his statement to the police? I'm sitting in the car,
And he was waiting. He was an escort driver. He was waiting for his escorts to come back
An escort
out.
for the escort.
Minding his own business,
Yeah.
and he says the Lincoln Navigator is driving by. According to him, he sees a light-skinned, slender arm throw this loaded weapon out the window, and that lands on his car.
Okay.
From the rear passenger side.
As you heard for yourself, the police claim that a witness called the police, giving them this weapon and testifying that a light-skinned, slimmer arm threw the weapon out the window. Now, considering that it was only Diddy, J-Lo, and the driver in the car, we must assume the light-skinned, slimmer arm had to belong to Jennifer Lopez. After dumping the weapon and trying to flee, the police were finally able to pull the vehicle over, searching the car and finding a stolen loaded weapon in the car. This led the police officer to arrest everyone in the car, taking Diddy and J-Lo to jail. While at the jail, it's reported that J-Lo was panicking, bursting out in tears and sobbing, while Diddy was trying to convince his bodyguard to take the weapon charge for him in exchange for a diamond ring he had on. Eventually, Diddy and J-Lo were released, and J-Lo would go on to be dropped from the investigation, but Diddy and Shine would end up going to trial. The case ended with Diddy being acquitted of all charges, while Shine was charged and served 9 years in prison. This was rather strange, since one of the victims and key witnesses, Natanya Rubin, who was actually shot in the face during the club incident, has been adamant that Diddy was the one who shot her since day one. Natanya told the surgeon who was trying to save her life that she was shot by Diddy. She also told investigators that Diddy was the man responsible for what happened to her. Natanya claims she saw Diddy pull out the weapon and unload it, striking her in her face, which she saw out of her own eyes as she was facing Diddy.
Puffy said, "That's why I shot up the club in New York back in 1999 and let Shine take the fall for it." Let me tell you why that's of utmost importance to me. Because I am the woman who shot in the face in that 1999, December 27th, 1999, Club New York. I have told everyone ad nauseum since then, even the surgeon who did the surgery, I literally have told everyone and never changed what I said. I watched him. I got pow-powed in the face. I watched him fire the. I've said all this time. Even the surgeon who did my surgery to take out part of the bullet fragments that was aspirating into my lungs and try to remove as many bullet fragments as possible testified in the criminal trial that while they were putting me under, I was screaming, "Puffy, pew pew me in the face." He testified in the criminal trial. It is in the record. They all knew he did it. Everybody knew he did it. But he paid off the club bouncer named Sharice and all these other people and the club owners with their video to hide the video. That's his MO. I told everybody.
As you heard for yourself, Natanya stated she saw Diddy do it since day one, but it didn't matter. Diddy and J-Lo both managed to escape all criminal charges, even when their involvement was pretty obvious. Now, what the police officer stated about a slim, light-skinned arm dumping the weapon is very important and serious. As like I mentioned, the only person in that vehicle at that moment that matches that description was J-Lo. It appears that J-Lo tried getting rid of evidence for Diddy, which would make her an accomplice to the club incident. This would explain why she was so scared crying in the jail cell. She most likely thought they were going to charge her with discarding evidence. Ever since that situation happened, J-Lo began distancing herself from Diddy. They dated for a bit longer, but it wasn't like before. No public appearances or anything like that. It was pretty obvious that they were done with each other way before they officially announced they broke up. I believe this was J-Lo trying to protect herself from the situation. She was hoping she could get past it without going down for it. This is why right now, while Diddy is being investigated, J-Lo is straight up panicking. She's afraid that they would reopen the club shooting investigation where so much was covered up. She knows that if they do that and look into her possible involvement, things can end up badly for her. Now, I will say I doubt she can get prison time for that since it happened so long ago, but it would definitely ruin her career and public image if she's outed for helping cover up a crime for Diddy. She's been so quiet, not saying anything negative about Diddy, and that's because she knows she played a part in his crimes too. Now, this club shooting incident isn't the only thing J-Lo was involved in. According to one of Diddy's court witnesses, he claims to have the Diddy freak-off tapes, claiming he allegedly saw J-Lo in one of the freak-off tapes using an adult toy on herself while being filmed. This witness recently was forced to hand over this evidence to authorities.
I seen J-Lo jab herself with a or some type of object. I seen
As you heard for yourself, Courtney claims he saw J-Lo in these freak-off tapes. Now, this means that not only J-Lo was involved in the club shooting incident, but also with the Diddy freak-off parties. This proves that she knew about many of Diddy's crimes but did nothing about it, choosing instead to attempt to erase her time with Diddy. In my opinion, J-Lo chose to protect Diddy in order to protect herself. I find it interesting that while she was trying to get in the music industry, she ended up having to go through Diddy, just like we saw with Cassie. I don't think it's a coincidence that there's allegedly a freak-off tape with her participating in it. This proves that Diddy has been forcing upcoming stars to hook up with him in order for him to help their career. He then films these women in compromising situations to use as leverage against them. This is most likely the main reason so many people stood quiet about the Diddy situation. Diddy most likely got tapes on them and they're afraid of them getting leaked. It's clear to me that J-Lo knows a lot more about Diddy's behavior than she's leading on. She was right in the middle of his evil behavior, and it appears she participated in some of it. Now, while I was investigating J-Lo for this video, I found out some interesting information. J-Lo, like many other celebrities in Hollywood, is into voodoo and witchcraft. This is something her own ex-husband, Ojani Noah, has come out and exposed. Jennifer was married to Ojani back in 1998, right before she was with Diddy. Ojani even claims that Jennifer cheated on him with Diddy. More importantly, Ojani exposed something about Jennifer that most people don't know, that she's into black magic and witchcraft. According to Ojani, J-Lo is deep into Santeria, which is similar to voodoo. He claims that J-Lo was extremely serious about Santeria, and he was as well at one point. Ojani claims that he and Jennifer had a black magic godmother, that J-Lo even performed a Santeria ritual to be granted the Selena movie role, the movie role that changed her life. It was reported that Salma Hayek was originally cast to play Selena, but somehow the role ended up going to Jennifer Lopez. According to Salma, she turned it down because she felt it was too soon to do a movie about Selena, claiming that she was offered the role 1 week after Selena passed away. When I read this detail, I was shocked, and I instantly got a lot of questions. How were they going to make a Selena movie just 1 week after she passed away? This makes me suspicious about Selena's passing, and honestly, makes me want to look into it. Unfortunately, this video is about J-Lo, not Selena, but if you guys want to see a video on Selena, comment Selena below. Now, back to J-Lo and the witchcraft allegations. J-Lo started dating Ojani back in the mid-90s and ended up marrying him in 1998. He was actually her first husband and was with her before she became a massive star. He was exposed to Santeria after he started dating J-Lo. He claimed that after they broke up, because J-Lo was cheating on him with Diddy, he and J-Lo went to see their Santeria spiritual leader, who he called the Godmother. This is where he claims that J-Lo participated in sacrifices to the gods in order to cleanse herself of Diddy. According to Ojani, he saw J-Lo do a blood rebirth ritual where she bathed in chicken blood until she was covered in it from head to toe. He then claims that she was washed off with holy water and patted with herbs. Ojani actually did an interview with a Latin broadcaster some time back. The interview is in Spanish, which I am able to understand, but for those who don't speak Spanish, I ran the video through a dubbing translator that translated it to English. Obviously, it's not a great translation, but it's decent enough to make out what he said.
Jennifer and I were discussing the possibility of reuniting, of getting back together. There were sacrifices of what kind of animals, please? A lot of chickens, hens, for example. That was the most I can tell you. The most there at hand, right?
The chickens and hens.
I was there once, and when I went, I saw animal sacrifices. For example, Jennifer was being cleaned, and I was there telling you they were cleaning her because I was present.
Let's go step by step, please. I mean, Jennifer is being cleansed in this ceremony where they are doing, gentlemen, animal sacrifices. How is she being cleansed? I mean, did they kill the animals on top of her? No. I want the public to understand how this cleansing was done.
The cleansing process begins when they kill the animal. In this instance, it was a hen. The blood from the hen is poured over you, essentially giving you a blood bath, cleansing you in the process. After you're covered in blood, you enter a pool, like a small pool, and they give you another type of water. I imagine this water might be holy water or something similar, though I don't remember exactly. They clean the blood from you again, and then they use another water. During this, they use herbs, passing them all over your body. They use these herbs and the godmother in that water, which I believe might be holy water or something akin to it, although I'm not entirely sure. In that scenario, she is not only asking you and the gods, but also taking the time to cleanse the ancient.
That experience happened in Los Angeles, in the city of...
Same house in Madrid.
In the very same house. They refer to her as the godmother, who serves as the spiritual leader.
Exactly. In that case, that she was the spiritual leader for both of us. That was at the same time that we were, going back, and those cleansings were to go back to save the marriage, because at that time already she was fighting, having problems with Pofi.
As you heard for yourself, he claims that J-Lo was into Santeria and refers to it as black magic. He claims that he witnessed J-Lo do rituals, even claiming in another interview that she had some sort of voodoo doll of him, Diddy, and all the other men she dated. This is further confirmed after blogs started reporting that Ben Affleck was afraid of J-Lo because of her dealing with dark magic, claiming that he wanted to stay on her good side so that she won't put a spell on him. Something else Ojani said was that J-Lo used Santeria rituals to further her Hollywood career. So this confirms that J-Lo, just like so many other stars in Hollywood, used the occult to further her career. I am not surprised, as she did end up around Diddy, who is known for his strange industry rituals. After seeing all of this about J-Lo, it's clear to me that she's hiding from this Diddy situation because she's afraid of what might come to the light. She obviously isn't the woman she pretends to be. She's into the world of witchcraft and was allegedly a part of those freak-offs. Hopefully the truth will come out, and J-Lo and every other silent accomplice would be outed for what they really are. Well, that's it for this one. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.